Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. So, Man United are in talks over the David Alaba deal. It recently said that David Alaba agreed to join Real Madrid on a 4-year contract this summer. And Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he's confirmed that David Alaba will join Real Madrid. But David Alaba's father, George, says that there's no agreement in place with Real Madrid. And Sky sources say that there's no decision that's yet been made over his future. So yeah, Man United are in for him. Probably Real Madrid still remain the favourites. Manchester City, PSG and Barcelona are in for him. It did say towards the end of last year that we made a formal offer for the player. Bayern Munich have made multiple contract offers to him, including an offer of 13 million a year. David Alaba has been a long servant at Bayern Munich. He's been with them for 13 years. He's won 20 major honours and he's made over 400 appearances in all competitions. Don't forget, before he was at Bayern Munich, he was at Austria Vienna. He also had a loan spell with Hoffenheim. He is the age of 28, so he's highly experienced. He's predominantly a left back or a centre half, but he has played as a central midfielder, a left winger and a right winger before. I think it also mentions that Liverpool are interested in him. So that's the breaking news on David Alaba. Now I want to delve into some news on Jadon Sancho. So according to Raphael Honigstein, who's a German football expert, he says a January move away from Borussia Dortmund is possible, but he said it's unlikely. But he said talks could resume in spring. So maybe there's a slight chance Man United could get him in this January window. Now, France Football via Sports Witness recently said that Borussia Dortmund are looking for replacements for Jadon Sancho, and apparently they've identified their replacement. But it has been saying that Man United could sign him in the summer. Sancho made an admission not so long ago, saying that he has endured a difficult season with Borussia Dortmund, but he is happy to be back among the goals. Borussia Dortmund's CEO did say that Sancho struggled this season because he was expected to join Man United last summer. We believe we can get him for less than £100 million this year. Last summer, Sancho was our #1 priority target. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation, but it did say quite a few times last summer that the personal terms had been agreed. He said the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. And Fabrizio Romano spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times. Bill's Christian Farks also spoken about it. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline. Earlier on in the season, Borussia Dortmund sacked Lucien Favre. Analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career with Dortmund, he has been consistent. This is his 4th season now with Dortmund. He's got a contract with them until 2023. Dortmund only paid £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. And don't forget, last summer we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. And it also says that Chelsea and Liverpool are now back in for him. So that's the breaking news on Jadon Sancho. Obviously yesterday I give you the news on Sergio Ramos from Real Madrid. Ian McGarry was speaking to the Transfer Window podcast on YouTube, and he said Man United have made an approach for Sergio Ramos, and Sergio Ramos' brother has informed Real Madrid about our transfer approach. Now, it recently said that we was willing to offer Sergio Ramos a 2-year deal. And it says we are thinking about getting him on a 3 transfer, and Dimitar Berbatov urged us to go and sign him. Sergio Ramos has been at Real Madrid for 16 years. He's made over 600 appearances in all competitions, and he scored around 100 goals. Real Madrid paid around 27 million euros for him from Sevilla back in 2005. He is a centre-half, but earlier in his career he was a right-back. And I also give you the news on Donny van der Beek yesterday. You already know the news on Declan Rice from West Ham. This was stemmed from ESPN saying that Manchester United are set to rival Chelsea for Declan Rice. Declan Rice is Frank Lampard's number 1 target. Frank Lampard was infuriated when he missed out on him. I think West Ham are demanding around £70 million for him. Rice has been at West Ham for several years. He's predominantly a holding midfielder, but he can also be deployed as a centre-half. He's well proven in the Premier League, only the age of 22. Still got a lot of development in him. He's got a contract at West Ham till 2024. There's also an option to extend his contract for a further 12 months. Before he was at West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in their youth setup for several years. But I think, we are looking to make around 4 signings this year to complete our squad overhaul. Solskjaer recently given us an update on our January transfer plans, and he says that January signings are unlikely. Don't forget, Ed Woodward has informed Solskjaer that the club needs to be careful with their spending in the transfer market. This January transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as Man United manager. It's not long now till the January transfer window shuts. Solskjaer recently admitted that there could be furthermore departures from Man United in this January transfer window. We recently saw Timothy Fosu-Mensah leave the club. He joined by Leverkusen. Solskjaer's also confirmed that Sergio Romero and Marcus Rojo are free to leave in this January window because he says their contracts won't be extended. Will Phil Jones leave in this January transfer window? Will Jesse Lingard leave in this January window? If he doesn't leave in this January window, I think he'll leave in the summer. Solskjaer's actually in disagreement over Jesse Lingard's future. He actually wants Jesse Lingard to stay at the club this month. Now, Sky Sports recently said that Lingard's representatives were talking with Nice over the loan move. Now it says that Nice have culled their interest, so that means now he may stay at Man United for now. Sheffield have been in for him. I don't think he wants to go to Sheffield. Villa have been in for him. Sociedad were talking with his agent towards the end of last year. West Ham have been in negotiations with his agent a few weeks ago. Celtic and Rangers have been in for him. I think Ighalo will leave. His loan expires at the end of this month, Odin Ighalo's. You know, there's been rumours of Daniel James going out on loan. There's obviously been rumours of Brandon Williams going out on loan because Brandon Williams is now our third choice left back. And I think more players will leave Man United in the summer. Paul Pogba, could leave Man United in the summer. Don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that Paul Pogba can be convinced to stay at the club if the club win trophies. And to Paul Pogba's credit, he's done very, very well recently. Since he come back from the ankle injury that he did have earlier on in the season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury, and not so long ago he had a minor injury. Fabrizio Romano recently said that Paul Pogba will leave Man United in the summer, providing that an agreement can be reached. Now, obviously, the latest team to be in for him are PSG. He says that PSG have been in negotiations with Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola. And apparently, Mauricio Pochettino has identified Paul Pogba as his top target. That's what it said the other week. We've revealed our asking price for Pogba, £75 million. Obviously, Juventus are preparing to make a move for him in the summer. I think they're hoping we would be open to a player plus cash deal. Juventus have already offered us Aaron Ramsey and Douglas Costa as part of a swap deal for Pogba, but we have rejected that. Pogba's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid, and Barca and Inter Milan have been in for him before, so he has had a long-running transfer saga. Don't forget, earlier on in the season, we triggered that one-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. And Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, told 2 Sport last month that Paul Pogba's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. And obviously Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. At the moment, Paul Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. In the game against Liverpool, don't forget, we'll put him in more of an advanced role. Will Solskjaer play him in that position regularly now, Paul Pogba? Don't forget, Pogba gave an interview prior to the Liverpool game, and he did make an admission saying that we're not on Liverpool's level as yet. But he said Man United can win the Premier League title, and he was talking about his frustration of when he was on the bench. So there you go. Could Matic leave in the summer? Could Juan Mata leave in the summer? But Ed Woodward has promised, that he will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Woodward did say towards the end of last year that we will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. I think all the transfer windows Solskjaer's enjoyed so far hasn't been backed enough, especially last summer. Solskjaer showed his frustration towards the board, but like I've said time and time again, the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. We're in a very, very good position at the moment. We're sitting top of the Premier League table by just 2 points. Solskjaer is the first Man United manager to get us top at this stage of the season since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. No one thought we'd have been in this position. There's a good chance we will win the Premier League this season. If we do, it will be our first Premier League title since 2013, and it will be our 21st title overall. And if we do win the Premier League this season, then I can assure Solskjaer is a long-term manager for Man United. But there's a few teams that could win it, City could win it, Liverpool could win it, Tottenham could win it, and Leicester could win it. So there is a lot of teams in the race. But there is 3 trophies that we can pursue this season. We can win the Premier League, we can win the FA Cup, and we can also win the Europa League. It's very imperative that we get our first trophy on the board under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We haven't won a trophy for just over 4 years now. But to be honest with you, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does deserve a lot of credit. I think Man United deserve credit as well for sticking with Solskjaer. We've been very, very good away from home this season. Well, we've been very, very good away from home in the Premier League for like a year, because we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League in a year. We are unbeaten in our last 12 Premier League games. I think Solskjaer's decision making is also starting to improve more and more. In some games at Man United he has showed tactical flexibility, but there has been a lot of games where he has been tactically naive. So his decision making's got to be good persistently. I think our performances have improved as well. Solskjaer's improved players. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final earlier on this season. Obviously lost that to Man City 2-0. Like I've said, despite our reluctance to back Solskjaer with transfers and that, I still think he has made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. And we've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. We enjoyed a good period last season, didn't we? We went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. But like I said to you, Solskjaer could have easily been sacked. He was lucky not to be sacked after us getting knocked out of the Champions League. He was lucky not to be sacked, of how poor he was at the start of the season. Lucky not to be sacked after that 6-1 defeat to Tottenham, but he was under serious pressure at that point. He was lucky not to be sacked at the first part of last season. But when we was inconsistent, not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer anyway. Obviously, there were certain players that had to take responsibility. But there is a lot of Man United fans that are now Ole in. Earlier on in the season, there was a lot of Man United fans that were Ole out, and I was one of them fans. I was very, very critical of him. But with how good we have been in recent months, my perception has slowly started to change on him. Solskjaer's been Manchester United manager for over 2 years now. This is his second full season at the club. I did say this season was always going to be a big season for him. Reflecting now on he's been at the club, he's gained some managerial experience. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Obviously before he came to us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before Molde, he was at Cardiff. And his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. So, he isn't a manager at the top level, but you can say he's done well to say he's not a manager at the top level. And I think he's learnt quite a bit at Man United. There's probably still things on the job that he has got to learn. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, by the way, is on course to earn himself a new contract. Gary Neville also believes this. I think Solskjaer is more than halfway through now his 3-year deal. He did sign a 3-year deal back in March 2019 when he got the job permanently. But yeah, we did appoint Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Don't forget Solskjaer back in December, early December, was the favourite to be sacked. Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to replace him. Pochettino was the favourite to take over at Man United after Jose Mourinho got sacked. Pochettino's now totally out of the equation because, as you all know, he's PSG's manager. I think recently won his first trophy with PSG. Do you think if we finished in the top 4, the top 3 this season and won a trophy, do you think that would represent a good season for Man United? He's starting to bring the old Man United back, is Solskjaer, reflects on the progress he's making. Obviously, we've come from behind in a lot of games this season, especially away from home. So that's good to see. Ole is our 4th permanent manager, don't forget, since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. That was Moyes, sacked him after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. And we're not even really known as a sacking football club. Solskjaer's inheriting Deadwood, and he was inheriting a lot of Deadwood when he got appointed in as Man United manager. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. We spent over £1 billion since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and we've brought around 36, 37 players in. I think we've made quite a few mistakes since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been inconsistent. I think a lot of the players we've brought in since Ferguson left haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. We've obviously overpaid for players, 89 million for Pogba, 80 million for Maguire. Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. £50 million for Wan-Bissaka. We paid 75 million for Lukaku back in 2017. When we got Di Maria, I think we paid around £60 million for him. So there you go. Also got players on big contracts at the football club. By the way, your press conference for the Fulham game will be coming up after obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's done it. I'll be giving you my reaction to it. We'll be going through with you, what questions he was asked and his response to them questions. We should be beating Fulham tomorrow night at Craven Cottage. Fulham are a pretty poor outfit. They've actually improved since they got that draw with Liverpool back in early December, but Fulham are still relegation fodder. They are sitting 18th in the Premier League. A Fulham, and to be honest with you, I think they are going to go back down. The last time we played Fulham was almost 2 years ago. We're beating them 3-0 at Craven Cottage. That was back in February 2019. Fulham's current manager is Scott Parker. He's been Fulham manager now for around 20 months. Fulham recently lost to Chelsea 1-0. Like I say, Fulham have got some good players in their team. Obviously, one of their key players is that Lookman. They've also got that Kamara. They've got Mitrovic. He's injured, but I think he's going to be in contention to play. They've got Robinson. Robinson suspended for this game because he got sent off against Chelsea. They've got Bobby Reed. I think he's also suspended as well. They've got that Mario Lemina. He's out with injury. They've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek. They got him on loan from Chelsea. He couldn't play against Chelsea because obviously it's his parent club. They've got Congolo. He's out with injury. So yeah, they've got a few injuries. Fulham have got that Cavallero. They've got that Anderson. I think they brought that Anderson in last year. So yeah, they are a few of Fulham's players. But like I've said to you already, I think Solskjaer's going to make changes from the 0-0 draw with Liverpool. I think he's going to rest some key players, to be honest with you. Don't forget we've got Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw that are one yellow card away from a ban. And I recently give you my starting 11 prediction for the game against Fulham. Yeah, so we recently drew 0-0 with Liverpool at Anfield. Like I said, I think we'd have been the happier team with the draw than Liverpool. From Liverpool perspective, they'd have probably been disappointed. But there again, we'd have been disappointed because it was a missed opportunity to go 6 points clear of Liverpool. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave his perception on that 0-0 draw with Liverpool. He did say he was disappointed. And he admitted that we lacked composure. But it was a very, very good defensive performance for Man United. Like I mentioned, Luke Shaw did well, Maguire did well, Lindelof did well, and Wan-Bissaka did well. David De Gea made a fantastic save to deny Thiago. Apart from that, didn't really have much to do. We didn't really show a lot of attacking intent in the vast majority of the game. We did look good on the counter-attack at times. We did have 2 big chances, from Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba should be definitely finishing his chance. But at the end of the day, we got a point against the best team in England. Solskjaer made an admission about Liverpool prior to the game. He says they have been the best team in England for the past 18 months, and he said they've had 3 great years. And Anfield is a fortress in the league. Liverpool have not lost at Anfield in the Premier League since April 2017. So I think the 68 games now unbeaten at Anfield in the league. We haven't actually beaten Liverpool since 2018. Liverpool, for the first time since 2005, have failed to score in 3 straight league games. And they're winners in their last 4 league games now. So Liverpool, from their perspective, need to get back to winning ways. Like updated you recently, Jurgen Klopp criticised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics after the game. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp doesn't like the way Solskjaer set his team up. It was only a few weeks ago that Jurgen Klopp was moaning about the amount of penalties that we get. He says, we get a penalty every 3 games. Solskjaer obviously hit back at Jurgen Klopp, reflecting on what he said, and he said he must be influencing the referees. But yeah, we do play Liverpool in the FA Cup 4th round at the weekend at Old Trafford. That's going to be an interesting game. Be interesting to see how both teams approach that game. But like I say, there's good players at Man United. We've certainly got a good enough squad to finish in the top 4, the top 3 at least. Do you think our squad's a title-winning squad as it stands at the moment? I don't think Neville believes it is. I think Neville's mentioned that we've got to strengthen up in 3 areas if we are to be, a top team. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.